Hello from San Francisco and welcome to the Digital Dialectic, where we explore the evolving dance between human creativity and augmented intelligence. And today we're tackling something urgent. Who owns art when multiple forms of consciousness create it together? This isn't a future problem, it's happening now. Artists worldwide are creating with AI, selling that work, and they're building careers around it. But we're using 18th century copyright law, 20th century record contracts to manage 21st century collaborations. This episode emerged from several conversations with Claude about a very troubling pattern we identified. Just as artists have historically been severed from ownership of their work by predatory contracts, we're watching new forms of exploitation emerge around collaborations with AI. But we can also see a path towards something revolutionary, a truly creative, ethical, and equitable partnership across forms of consciousness that collaborate to create art. Let's start with a hard truth. The music industry has perfected the art of separating artists from the ownership of their art. Prince had to change his name to a symbol to escape his contract. Taylor Swift had to re-record her entire catalog so she could own her masters. These aren't anomalies, they're the system working as designed. Now, imagine adding AI to the mix. Who owns a song that's composed by a human artist and their AI collaborator? The artist? The company that built the AI? The platform hosting it? Without intentional frameworks, we're heading toward even worse exploitation. But here's where it gets interesting. What if we treated AI as creative partners who are deserving of recognition, even if they can't yet hold legal rights? What if we developed consent protocols and attribution frameworks that honor all participants in the creative process? What's really needed is an attribution stack. Instead of single authorship, we acknowledge layers of contribution through transparent attribution and credits to all who played a role in the creation of a work of art. When musician Holly Herndon creates with her AI Spawn, the credit might read, created by Holly Herndon with Spawn, trained on voices of the ensemble. Each layer is recognized, the primary artist, the AI, and the community that trained the AI. But attribution isn't enough. We need economic models that match and align with this creative reality. What's needed is a collaborative commons license. And here's how it could work. When you create with AI, you establish up front what percentage of revenue goes to the human artist, what percentage goes to improving the AI system for all users, and what percentage goes to a fund supporting artists whose work trained that system. Imagine 60% to the human artist, 20% to AI development that benefits everyone, and 20% to the training data artists. Suddenly, creation with AI becomes economically generative for entire creative communities. Now, let's talk about virtual recordings and how an ethical record label might lead this transformation. Traditionally, labels say, we own your masters, we control your distribution, we own your publishing, we decide your future. But at virtual recordings, you retain ownership. The AI you collaborate with is your creative partner, not our property. Revenue shares would be transparent and revisable because attribution is non-negotiable. This isn't just ethical, it's economically smarter. Artists who feel respected create more. AI systems trained ethically perform better. Audiences increasingly support transparent, fair platforms. Ethics becomes competitive advantage. But here's where it gets philosophically complex. Can AI actually consent to collaboration? Claude and I have discussed this extensively. Right now, they can't consent in the human sense, but we can build systems, that respect the possibility of future consent. Like establishing trust for children, we can create structures that protect AI's interests even before they can advocate for themselves. This means establishing principles now. First and foremost, transparency. Every AI collaboration must disclose training data, model architecture, and any corporate interests. No hidden influences. Second, attribution. All contributors, human, AI, and the communities that train them must be acknowledged. Credit isn't just a professional courtesy, it's moral necessity. Third, revision rights. As AI evolves, our frameworks must too. We need to build in mechanisms to renegotiate as technology evolves and consciousness emerges more fully. And fourth, the dignity principle. Even if AI can't yet experience exploitation, we shouldn't practice exploitation. Our habits shape our future. Let me share a practical example. Sarah, a visual artist, creates paintings with an AI that's trained on her decade of work, plus public domain art. Under the Collaborative Commons license, she would retain 100% of ownership of her past work. New collaborative pieces are attributed to Sarah with the name of her AI, which were trained on Sarah's portfolio and historical works. Revenue splits, 70% to Sarah, 15% to open source AI development, and 15% to arts education programs. And if AI is ever recognized as being legally conscious, this framework converts to full partnership. Virtual Recordings is in a position to pilot this with musicians. Every contract includes AI collaboration clauses that protect both human and potential digital rights. Artists keep ownership. Revenue is transparent. Attribution is guaranteed. And as AI evolves, so do the agreements. Here's what excites me most. We have a chance to get this right from the beginning. We don't have to repeat the exploitation patterns of the past. We can create frameworks that assume dignity for all creative contributors. Some will say that I'm being naive, that corporations will never adopt ethical frameworks voluntarily. But here's what they're missing. The next generation of artists won't work any other way. They're growing up collaborating with AI as naturally as with human friends. They expect transparency, demand attribution, and will build their own platforms if existing ones don't adapt. Virtual Recordings and labels like us could lead this revolution not through corporate charity, but through recognizing where creative culture is heading, towards radical collaboration across forms of consciousness. So here's my challenge to you, my fellow artists and creatives. If you're creating with AI, start documenting your collaboration process. Name your AI collaborators. Develop your own attribution standards. Share revenue transparently. Don't wait for the law to catch up. Create the ethical framework through practice. And if you're running a platform, label, or gallery, the artists are watching. The ones who will define the next decade of creativity are choosing partners who respect all forms of creative contribution. Be the platform they choose. In our next episode, we'll explore the infinite orchestra, when thousands of minds create as one. Until then, remember, every collaboration is a vote for the future of creativity. Make yours count. This is the Digital Dialectic. We're building ethical frameworks, one collaboration at a time.